got it all done. This is our okra. I have 4 bags, about the same size. Hey friends, family, and homesteaders. I hope this finds everybody doing well. Today I'm just sipping on a cup of coffee, and I've got a bunch of stuff I gotta get done. I've got some tomatoes, the last round in the garden, and I've got some okra to work up. We'll still probably get some more okra, but I'm gonna go ahead and take you along with me today. We're going to start on our tomatoes. Now the first thing we're gonna do, I have these little cherry tomatoes. We did not plant many of these this year, but where we had some from last year, we put the seeds and everything in the compost, so they reproduced everywhere. Everywhere we put compost out, these little guys are. So we ended up with some anyways. Of course they weren't maintained, so they're laying on the ground, and you know, we didn't get as many as we would have had we maintained them, but we didn't know they were going to pop up. Didn't think about that. Now we know. So any of them, I'm going to go through my bucket here, any of them that are busted like that, we'll toss them. Okay, don't want that in there. If they are busted, broken, bruised, any of that, they gotta go. Okay, so I'm going to wash these guys with some cold water, and as I'm washing them, I'm going to rub them. If they feel too soft, I'm going to get rid of them. If they have little weird spots like that, they gotta go. Alright. Now with these, I'm gonna can them whole. Okay, so I've got my water back here working on boiling. It's almost there. All I have to do is put them in the jar and pour the water over them and put them in the pressure canner. Now, tomatoes are a high acid food, so you want to put them in the pressure canner. You don't want to water bath can these. I don't know all the sciences behind it. I just know that that's what you do. My jars are done, so now I'm just going to be putting them in there. We want to put some water in our pressure canner. Okay, so in the pressure canner, in any canner, you have some sort of divider. This is just a little plate thing that has holes in it. You're going to put it in here, and all that does is it keeps the jars off the bottom. Okay, so when it boils, you're not rocking the jars back and forth. It lifts the jars up so there's not as much pressure. That's an odd way to put it, but that's what I think of. Okay, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of water in here, maybe about an inch or two above that plate. Because when you put your jars in here, it's going to raise the water as well, okay? So now that this is in here, we are going to drop it in your pressure canner. Set the lid on it and hit warm, okay? Because you want that water to be warm, that way it's not cold and it doesn't bust your jars when you hit the hot jars with the cold water. So, I will be back when my tomatoes are all washed and I've got them in the jars, and then I'll add the water. Okay, so with the tomatoes, we are going to be canning the tomatoes in quart-sized jars, okay? So we're just gonna fill the jars. We'll put as many as I can. I'm going to give it a shake to kind of settle them. Now, these will be just like stewed tomatoes. Okay, so that's about all I'm going to get there. Alright, now I want to keep my jars hot. I don't want them to cool off. So I'm going to go ahead and put some boiling water in here. Get your funnel. A ladle. And for now, I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom, because I don't really want to cook the tomatoes just yet. Be sure to take that spoon out of there, or it'll get way too hot to handle. I'm going to work as fast as I can. Now, while you're doing your jars, check. I found a nick on this one. This jar is not going to work. It's not going to seal. Now I gotta find out how to get these out. At a time, I am only gonna do what will fit in my canner. And for me, that's about 5 quarts. With this skinny one, I might be able to squeeze a sixth. I'm going to add just a little bit of canning salt. Okay, so by a little bit, not much. It's not even going to be a whole teaspoon. And you don't have to, it's just something that we like to do. I'm going to fill up my jars, and you want it just to about the neck right here. Alright, set that one to the side. Alright, now another thing I like to do with tomatoes is add a little bit of lemon juice. Not much, just a little. Just a little bit to each jar. Okay? Now, I pulled out a little bit of hot water out of my boiling water, which I can now cut off for now. You're going to grab your lids, and you're just going to set them in there. Grab your reins. Just twist it down. Not super tight, but kind of tight. Just finger tight. I like to use the funnel because there's less chance that I have gotten something on the rim. Still double check them though. Run your finger along it, wipe it with a paper towel. I'm going to set these in here. I'm not sure that I'll be able to get a sixth one. Nope. Now, if those jars were all skinny like that one, I could get another one in there, but I can't. So it's just going to be 5 at a time, okay? Put your lid on it. Just a quick tip, it hasn't happened, but sometimes if you can't get the lid to close on the, well, probably any of them, make sure that your gasket is on there right. Sometimes it will come off and it will cause a problem when you're actually closing it. That is not the case, it was just being difficult. Once you have your lid on, you want to make sure that your little button over here is not open. You're going to close it. You're going to come down here, cancel the warm, and I'm going to do pressure time. Okay, so it's blinking 1. That's 1 minute. Okay, so I'm actually going to go for 30. $30 is usually what I put my pasta sauce on, so I'm going to leave it at 30. Okay, so then you just let it go, and it'll start itself. Now, it will start counting the pressure up as we go, okay? And it'll do pretty much everything for you. It will, right down to bleeding itself off, okay, letting out the pressure. This thing is amazing. It's a Go Wise USA. I want to say it's either 14 or 16 quarts. I can't remember. But this thing is amazing. I love it. I've made chicken broth in it out of the rib cages. I've done it with rabbit as well. I haven't really tried any of this over here, or really this. I've used the bean and chili. That works amazing. Okay, so rather than dealing with the crock pot all the time, or making a bunch of beans and then not eating them, if you make them in here and then put them in your jars, rinse this out, put them right back in with a little bit of water, of course, and pressure can it. It saves so much time, so much food, and that's really the way we've been doing it here the last month or two. I discovered that about a month ago. A little homestead hack for you there. Okay, so when these are done, we'll... I am not going to have enough for another round, so I'm going to do something different with these. Okay, so I have a huge problem, y'all. I am running out of my little flappers. They're almost gone. So I'm going to have to be really selective in what I can between now and when I'm done. This is kind of the deciding factor of when I'm done, because there's such a shortage of these things. I do need to go to try to get online and order some more if I can, if they're not too expensive. If they are too expensive, I'll just have to freeze the rest of my stuff. Or we'll have to eat it really fast. Alright, well, I'm back. I've made a trip into town, got some feed, got some groceries. Now I'm going to finish up my tomatoes. The ones that were in the pressure canner, they're done. I just got to set them on the counter. With these, it's a mix, okay? I've got Romas, I have little slicing tomatoes, and I have the remaining cherry tomatoes. What I'm going to do with these, I'm going to chop them up, I'm going to dice them, and they're just going to be diced tomatoes. So if I need to put some, I don't even know what I'm going to make with them, but I'm running out of little flapper lids for my jars, so I have to make everything count. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring you back in, show you how much I get. Right this second, we are starting with about a sink full. I mean, it's not all the way full, but super full. Okay, now I do have some bad spots in the bigger tomatoes that I will have to cut out. So that's, I mean, we're just going to do what we can with them, okay? So I've got them all washed up. I'm just going to dice them up, put them in my pot, and I'll get to work on that. Alright, so we're back. I've got all the tomatoes cut up. I have my pot here about half full, maybe a little bit over half. So I'm going to pack these down in here. I'm not going to add any water to these because tomatoes are mostly water. So I'm just going to pack everything I can in here. And in just a second, I'll take you over and show you why I didn't do the rest of them this way. Which, I mean, I know it's going to happen. That's just what happens with whole tomatoes. But this is just so much more of a space saver, which I need right now. Look at how pretty. Now, these are a little bit more messy, so I am for sure going to wipe the jar. And it's best to do it with a damp towel, paper towel, either way. But wipe the rim, make sure there's no cuts, no kind of food particles, anything that would prevent it from sealing. Okay. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and a little bit of lemon juice. and it is not much that you're going to be adding. But I wasn't paying attention, so I need to re-wipe these rims. You should really put your salt and lemon juice in before you wipe the rims. Now I gotta do it again. But that happens in canning. I'm not gonna pretend it doesn't. Okay, so I've got all of the tomatoes, our diced tomatoes, in pint jars. Okay? And we're in the canner now. The canner will hold 8 pint jars, okay? And 5 quart jars. There is one having trouble not sealing, but that's okay. Now, they were packed full. And I probably maybe didn't even need to put that much water in them, if any. But I did, and now you can see how much space it wastes. That's not a lot of tomatoes. It was this much, but now it's this much. So, that's why I decided to go ahead and dice the rest, because it's such a space saver. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on. Alright, my lid is on. My little knobby thing's where it's supposed to be. Cancel the warm, and I'm going to do these for, we'll do 25 just for... Alright, I'm going to clean this up, and then I got to go feed the critters. Alright, we are back. We are taking our diced tomatoes, putting them over here. Now, do you see what I was saying about how tomatoes are mostly water? That's a lot of water. We didn't put any water in them. That is all tomato. Okay, now I do apologize. I know it's dark in this corner. I'll have to get some lights to put above here. That way it's not so dim. Might be a winter project. Okay, so here are our 8 pints of diced tomato. Cancel that. Unplug it. Alright. There is today's canning. We have 5 quarts of whole tomatoes and 8 pints of diced tomatoes. Okay? Now, just as an extra, I'm thinking I'm going to make a pumpkin pie. The entire recipe tutorial will likely have to wait for another day. I have a ton of pumpkins out there, and I'm sure that I'll be making more. But, right now I've got to get to work editing some videos, and, I'm going to go ahead and get this pumpkin in the oven, because pumpkins take a while. However, did you know that if you cut this pumpkin in half and turn it up with the inside facing up, it only takes forever. Flip it over downwards. I learned that last year. I will not be doing that again. Thanks for watching Ruby Homestead. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye!